joining us from Reading in the UK, where he's an Associate Professor of Politics and International Relations at the University of Reading. Mark, it's good to have you on this News Hour. This latest shooting, this awful tragedy that we've seen unfold over the last few hours in the US, is this also just not going to become another issue that is politicized by politicians on both sides of the aisle?
The whole of the gun debate is politicized, and these awful incidents, these terrible killings happen far too often. They've pretty much become normalized in the United States, despite the clear anguish from the president last night when he spoke. But this is a deeply entrenched debate that has become all the more entrenched as America's politics have shifted to the right and really have separated so much. There's very little bipartisan work that happens anywhere in Washington now. And this has become an issue of gun control, believed in by the Democrats and the liberals, versus gun rights, the right to bear arms, which is absolutely a mantra of the right. And until we can get past that debate, which just founders every time people try to take it seriously, there will be no significant change. And we'll be wringing our hands and not seeing a lot of change happen.
Yeah, even for anyone living outside of the United States, if you watch the US news, if you watch any of the TV shows or the movies coming out of the US, we always hear about the Second Amendment right to bear arms. As you said, it's something that that people use a lot to continue with the gun debate, to continue making it legal in various states around the country. But historically, we've just seen this CDC report that shows that the death toll in the US from gun-related violence has jumped 14% from a year earlier and 25% from 5 years ago. Why is it going up?
Well, you have got this historic debate that says that the left wants to come and take America's guns. But enshrined in the Constitution since the 1780s is the right to bear arms. But it's only actually since the 1970s that people have seen that as an individual right rather than a collective right. So it's the right for individuals to be armed. Now, the gun lobby has been pressing very hard. It's extremely well funded. It has avenues right throughout Washington, but also through the media, to say not only is it a right to bear arms, but it is actually the duty of Americans. Now, maybe that's just about selling more guns, but you have half of the country who believe that they should be armed. It's so easy to get hold of guns in America. You can go into the major retailers, and if you've got some ID, you can pretty much walk out with a gun. You look at the shooter here in Texas last night. He was 18 and buying assault rifles. Okay, he may not be able to buy bullets until he's 21, but they are very freely available. There are gun shows in most schoolyards at least 3 or 4 times a year where people can buy pretty much unlicensed weaponry and walk away with it. Now, only actually 1 in 6 Americans have guns, but there is a culture of fear there, and there is also a culture where people are more likely to use their guns. The rest of the world, we don't have them, this kind of instance, and there have been 27 school shootings already this year. The rest of the world, this kind of incident just doesn't happen, and certainly not with anything like the frequency. In most countries, it's a once in a generation. In America, it's once every few months.
Yeah, the frightening thing is, and something difficult to almost wrap your head around, is that in Texas, you have to be 21 to drink alcohol, but at 18, you can buy an assault rifle like the gunman in this case. Mark, I want to ask you, though, how much of a role does the media have in stoking this gun debate and influencing both political and public opinion?
Okay, it works in 2 ways. On the one hand, you have advertising, and advertising serves 2 purposes. On the one hand, it glamorizes having a gun. It's almost makes owning a gun seem like a cool and sexy thing to do. On the other side, particularly through political communications, you have an atmosphere of fear stoked. America fears the other. It fears the outsider. It fears the person who might invade your home, even though home invasions are incredibly rare. And you have a very, very polarized media as well. On one hand, the media is there to create ratings, to bring more people in. So they show the bad news and they show the scare and the fear all the time. But then you have a lot of commentators acting as news presenters. So you have people who have a very distinct agenda, be that of the left or of the right, getting involved in this debate, but presenting their opinion as facts. And when you've got somebody like Tucker Carlson on Fox who uses this awful school shooting as a means to attack the president, then there is something very, very, very skewed in the way the media is operating. It is certainly not presenting objective facts.
Yeah, polarized media reflecting very much a polarized country. Mark Shanahan, thank you so much.
Thank you.